Part two of cash flow now, and you may have noticed this picture that I've put on the front. So usually when you Google kind of cash flow pictures, it comes up with a bath to show the tap as the cash inflow and the plug hole where the water's escaping as the cash outflow, and the level of the water would be the net cash flow. But I think this made me laugh a bit. So representing a toilet here, all of the money coming in, the revenue coming in as the cash flow inflow, and then the cash going out as all of these costs and expenses, and then the bottom of the toilet bowl being the representing the net cash flow. I think it's quite an unusual but an effective analogy. So now we need to look at the consequences of cash flow problems, and we need to recommend possible solutions to cash flow problems. So why are cash flow forecasts important? Firstly, well, it allows the owner to check that they have enough cash available over the next few months to keep the business running. So they need to be paying wages, or else people will just leave. They're not going to pay. They're not going to work for nothing. They have their own bills to pay. They need to be able to pay their suppliers, or their suppliers will stop supplying. They need to be able to pay any other expenses, rent, utility bills, tax expenses, keep up payments on loans. So it's very important that you have money to be able to run the business on a day-to-day basis. You're also going to want to have a cash flow forecast to show that you can pay back money in case you need to get a loan. So when you're putting together your business plan, you'll want to put in a cash flow forecast. How much money you're going to have coming into the business? What's going to be going out? Are you going to be able to afford a loan? And the forecast can actually act as a target. So in terms of the money coming into the business, it could be a target for how much revenue you want to make, or how much funding you're trying to get the business up off the ground, or how much you want your cost to be. I assume you'd want it to be as low as possible, so it could be a target that you don't want to exceed, and that could be quite motivational and might make it more likely that the numbers that you have forecast do actually happen. So here was our cash flow forecast that we looked at on the other page. And really, when you get presented with this in an exam, what you want to have a look at is this last line here. So I'm just putting it into bold there so you can see it. And we can see immediately there are some problems, and it's these two with the brackets around them. Now this one in February, I wouldn't say is a really terrible problem, although obviously they're spending more money than they have in that month. But probably if the business has an overdraft, the overdraft can probably cover that. But you would have to check in the case study what their overdraft limit is. If the overdraft limit is £2,000, then obviously there's going to be a big cash flow problem in January for that business. So possible solutions, they're always one of two things, or you can have ones that try to tackle with both. But you either want to increase your cash inflows, your receipts, so we want to increase this amount coming into our business, or you want to decrease the amount of cash outflow, so your expenses. So going back to that, the amount of money that's going out of your business, these payments here, we want to decrease these. So let's have a look at a few methods. With the methods, and these aren't all of the methods that you can use, there are different methods as well, but I thought that this was a good starting point. With any method that you look at, there's always going to be a problem to using that method, so just bear that in mind when you're writing 9-mark essay questions for this one. So one solution, we could make payments to the supplier at a later date, so they become a creditor then, people that we owe money to. We could ask for 60 days trade credit or something. So this is going to delay money leaving the business. Eventually you are going to have to pay for your suppliers, but it's just going to delay it a little bit. Now the problem with this is that the supplier may not agree, they don't have to agree, and you may lose the early payment discount that some suppliers give. Another possible solution would be to encourage receipts to be paid earlier. So encourage people that owe you money, customers that owe you money, called debtors, to pay you earlier. So that's increasing the inflow into your business. Problems with this? Customers might have chosen you because you do offer 30 days trade credit or 60 days trade credit. So you may lose customers in that way. Also, if you've agreed with them that they can have 30 days and then you ring up after 15, they might be a bit annoyed with you as well. And if you've agreed 30 days and they've signed a contract to say that, then you don't really have any legal ability to ask for the money. I mean, you can ask for it, but if they say no, we're going to pay in 30 days, then they're allowed to do that. You could use a source of finance, such as a loan over an overdraft. So that again is increasing your inflow into your business. But if you take out a loan or an overdraft, you're going to have interest payments on this. So it's actually, in the long run, going to increase your outflows. So if it's just to cover a short-term problem, no big worry about that. But if you've actually got an unprofitable business and you're trying to increase inflows by borrowing money, that's not going to work, because actually you're just going to be increasing your costs that way and making your business even less profitable. And you could look down the list of expenses and think about cutting some of the payments. So I've just picked marketing because that's often one of the ones that is picked. So that's going to be reducing your outflow. But the problem with this is marketing is all about promotion. And if you reduce your promotion, maybe you're going to reduce sale and reduce the ability to make more money in the future. So those are the consequences of cash flow problems and the possible solutions. Just in case you didn't realise, I kind of flipped it around a bit when I was looking at the consequences of cash flow problems. I was looking at why are cash flow forecasts important. Okay, so cash flow problems, basically, if you don't have the money, you're not going to be able to pay your employees, you're not going to be able to pay your suppliers, they might take you to court, you can't pay your tax bills, you can't pay your loans. If you've got a mortgage out, they're going to take the property away from you, and you've got all of those problems.